guys, it's Hunter here. Welcome back to my channel for another video. Today's video is going to be kind of a different, interesting video, a kind of a new series that I want to start and incorporate a lot on my channel. I know I have been slacking in the video department. Okay, and coming up with good quality content that I want to do on this channel, because I definitely want to do more stuff. I'm so involved in the unsolved mysteries and all of the mysteries that just come with life, and so I definitely am going to be incorporating a few new series on my channel that I hope you guys will like. So the series that I want to start on my channel today is what I'm going to call Escaped from Hell. It's basically going to be stories of girls or boys who have escaped from being kidnapped and survived, came out of a situation like that and survived, and they're here to this day to tell their story. So I hope you guys enjoy this series. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you have any cases that you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments down below and I'll definitely give them a look. So today we're going to be talking about Elizabeth Smart, who disappeared in 1987 and actually survived and escaped from her kidnapper, and so I'm going to be telling you guys her story. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and with that, let's get on into the story. Okay, so Elizabeth Smart was born into a Mormon family on November 3rd, 1987 in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so this is actually pretty close to where I used to live in Wyoming, because Utah is pretty close to Wyoming. She was the second of 6 kids, and she was known. Okay. She was known to be as being kind, smart, shy. She was a very obedient child. She was a very bright child. She was always the top of her class. She also loved to play the harp. She began playing the harp at age 5, and she would get invited to play the harp at weddings and different occasions. She was a very smart and well-known child in her community. She was like I said, she was asked to play in weddings, funerals, all types of deals like that. She also was a long-distance cross-country runner, so she was an athlete. She's very involved in her school activities, and she went to school at Bryant Intermediate School. And so she was overall a good child. No one would ever suspect anything bad to happen to her. She was so well set on a path for amazingness. And then on June 4th, 2002, her and her family attended an end of the year ceremony at the school, like an award ceremony. So they kind of like gave out like athletic awards and attendance awards. I'm assuming it was something like that. And she received many awards that night. And then her family went home to like a normal night of just going to bed with her family. She shared, sorry, also my Apple Watch is going off, so sorry about that. She shared a room with her younger sister, Mary Catherine, and on the morning of June 5th, 2002, an hour after midnight, she woke up to the sounds of footsteps and cold metal against her cheek. And she, like I said, shared her room with her younger sister, Mary Catherine, who was pretending to be asleep across the room while all of this was going down. And she woke up to a man whispering to her, "I have a knife to your throat, don't make a sound, get out of bed and come with me or I will kill you and your family." And so she eventually did what she was told. She got out of the bed and followed this man out of her house. And there was accounts of Mary Catherine where she was interviewed, and she said she saw her sister being kidnapped, and she was trying to look at the kidnapper's face, but she couldn't see clearly because she was trying to pretend that she was asleep because she was too scared to move or talk or anything. And so then they later found out that Brian David Mitchell had taken her on an hours-long walk after kidnapping her through the forest to a camp where him and his wife, Wanda Barzee, were staying. So he basically kidnapped her and took her into the forest to his little camp where him and his wife were kind of staying, and his wife was like in on the kidnapping and knew everything that was going on. And Mitchell believed that he was some prophet named Emmanuel, and he was like just all Jesus and everything, and he actually performed a wedding ceremony to marry him and Elizabeth. And so he was also polygamous because he already had a wife, and he forced Elizabeth to marry him, and then he continuously sexually assaulted and raped her. She was actually held captive for 9 months, and they moved around between California and Utah, so he would take her back and forth. He would dress her up, disguise her whenever he took her out in public. And she recorded that she was raped daily, sometimes even several times. She was sexually assaulted over and over and over again. And she reported that he would sometimes keep her tied to a tree for days on end. He wouldn't feed her. She was almost on the brink of starvation when they found her. And he continuously tried to convince her that he was this prophet and he was like very godly and everything. And he was just crazy. So as she was being held captive, what led to her being able to be rescued was her sister had came forward saying that she had seen the kidnapper kidnap her sister on the night that it happened. And after a few months, Mary Catherine remembered a homeless man who had done some jobs for her family around the house, and she remembered that his name was Emmanuel. And she remembered that the kidnapper looks like the homeless man that had done work around the house for them. And so, but like she told her family, but no, they were like, no, that can't be. We won't be able to track down this Emmanuel man. We don't even know if that's his real name. Like, it was going to be really, really hard for them to figure out who this man was. But Mary Catherine was very adamant that this man was this Emmanuel character, which actually fits because, you know, he told Elizabeth that he was Emmanuel, this prophet or whatever. And so eventually the police looked into this and they found out Emmanuel's real name was Brian, and they discovered that he was Brian David Mitchell. And in February 2003 they aired him on America's Most Wanted, which is eventually what helped Elizabeth be able to escape. For Brian to be caught was because of that episode airing on America's Most Wanted. Someone recognized him from the show. On March 12, 2003, a passerby recognized Brian with Elizabeth, and he had her disguised, wearing big sunglasses, dark clothes, but this passerby recognized him as being on America's Most Wanted, and he was arrested a few days later, and Elizabeth was returned to her family immediately. It took them many years to actually prosecute Mitchell because there were so many questions about his medical state of mind. He was very mentally unstable. They didn't think that he was mentally well enough to be able to go through the prosecution or whatever. So it took them many, many years before they finally thought he was stable enough to do it. And on December 10th, 2010, he was found guilty of kidnapping and transporting a child across state borders for sexual purposes. And he was sentenced to life in prison, and his wife was sentenced to 15 years in prison. So she did get time in jail as well, which, I mean, I would think so if you could watch your husband, you know, kidnap a teenage girl and continuously sexually assault her over and over every single day. Like, something is wrong with that picture. But after Elizabeth did return to her family, she recovered very well. She was very happy. She didn't let those 9 months stop her from doing whatever she wanted to. And actually, weeks after she was returned to her family, her and her family camped up to the camp where she was actually held for those so many months. And she stood there and she looked at it, and she said that she felt great and she felt empowered that she had been able to overcome that, and that was no longer a place of prison for her. And she graduated in 2006, and she went on to study music performance, which was very big in her life. And she is now an activist on kidnapping survivors and sexual abuse. So she talks to survivors of kidnappings and survivors of sexual abuse and sexual assault. And in 2009, she moved to Paris for a missionary trip because, again, she's very Mormon, so she's very into religion. And she met a fellow missionary, Matthew Gilmore, and they fell in love, and they were married in Hawaii in February 20th of 2012, and they now have 2 beautiful children. And she's totally moved on. She knows that that is still a part of her past, but she wants to make it aware to everyone around her and other young girls and boys out there that go through the same things as her. She wants to make it aware and know that you can overcome it, and you can escape, and to like always keep pushing through. So yes, that is the story about Elizabeth Smart, who was held captive for 9 months and escaped. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story for my first episode of Escaped from Hell. If you guys want to see more episodes in the series, let me know down below. Give me your cases. And I'm also probably going to be starting another series that I want to call it like trapped in Yellowstone or something, because I want to do some cases of like people that have gone missing or died in Yellowstone National Park, because that is in my home state of Wyoming, and it's very close to where my grandma lives, and I've been there many times. So I thought that would be interesting, but I have to look up and see if there's even like a good number of cases to do it on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye guys.